This is a special edition of MeteoMark here on your Thursday afternoon into Friday here. I will stay on the air as long as I can in the coming days, but we have a situation in which areas of the Northeast, including my area, will be in a problem area for flooding. So, like I said, I will try to continue updates as they occur and as needed. However, I may not be able to, at a certain point, cover as much as I'd like to, because I myself am in a flood area. So, let's take a look at what we currently have going on across, for the pictures here. Lenny Mendola from New Jersey. He was in Easton, PA. Here's a nice sunset at Phantom Fireworks in Easton, PA. Very nice. This is the calm before the storm, essentially, here, and unfortunately these kind of sunsets will be few and far between in the coming weeks, so this is going to be a very rough couple weeks, and I'll explain why. Let's get into some pictures here from, here we go, before I head over to my Gmail account, where some of you sent some. Let's take a look at some really nice photos from Lucas D. from Linden, Texas. Look at these nice sky photos here. Very beautiful cumulus clouds. Linden, Texas has been nice, has some nice weather lately. They haven't had too many storms. They've had a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, but for the most part you can see these skies here. They've had this stormy appearance, but luckily it hasn't been too bad. And if you take a look, very beautiful. Look at even some, look at here. We got some berries here growing. Blueberries and raspberries. Or raspberries and, yeah. And you've got some, look at this, more cumulus clouds here. You can see these cumulus clouds. Nice blue sky. Some of us won't see a blue sky for a long time here in the Northeast. You got some daisies here. And some nice, really nice lush foliage here. And across, to finish it off here, Lucas left us with a nice sunset. Look at this nice Texas Linden sunset here. Very beautiful. And luckily, Linden, Texas isn't going to be seeing too much in the way of severe weather during the next several days. And that includes flooding as well. So very nice in Linden, Texas. Kind of hot, though. It's going to get very hot. It's going to be a scorcher, probably triple digits by the beginning of next week. And we head over to my Gmail account, where we've got, I believe it's Derek Rentschler. He sent in some photos the other day that had to do with the storms. And as you can see here, take a look at this. This was on Tuesday. Look at these really nice storms. This is from Lebanon County, Pennsylvania, between 2:30 and 3 p.m. They had a severe thunderstorm warning to 3:15 p.m. and you can see why. Look at these very dark, ominous-looking clouds here across Lebanon County, Pennsylvania. Thank you, Derek, for sending those in, and hopefully you didn't get any damage. I didn't actually see the report, but very, very, very low-hanging, very dark clouds with that thunderstorm line that headed through on Tuesday, I believe it was. So let's get right into the weather. I'm going to touch right on the tropics right away. Let's get these tropics over with. And this is going to be the connection here across the Gulf of Mexico. We don't have too much in the way right now, but we got some moisture here over Florida. We don't have too much else here in the tropics going on. Intertropical convergence zone in the mid-Atlantic here is kind of active, so we'll continue to watch that, but nothing very organized at the moment. But take a look here in the Gulf of Mexico. This is where our moisture source is going to be the next several days, from the Gulf of Mexico right up the spine of the Appalachians into the Northeast. Let's get right into your Friday for Friday TGIF. Unfortunately, I have to head back to work tomorrow after a nice week of vacation. So let's get right into Friday here. We're going to look at a very stormy pattern here across the east, and that system pushing some of the heavier rains we're seeing across Pennsylvania on Thursday here. Some very bad flash flooding around the Du Bois area and extending from Du Bois all the way over towards Clearfield County, Jefferson County, Forest County, Oil City. These areas, this stuff will continue to pinwheel towards New England and upstate New York, where we could get some more flooding rains. And I will touch on the actual amounts you're going to get, of amount of rainfall. and it's quite staggering to say the least in some areas. And here across the south, it's going to start getting hot down here. You see some triple digits. Heading on into Saturday, look at this. Saturday, the front does not move much. In fact, the low starts to retrograde down the St. Lawrence Valley. This is that blocking pattern that I'll show you. And these series of low pressures start to develop across the Appalachians, and there's going to be this trough that really carves out across the eastern U.S. that gets this direct tropical feed. Let's take a look at that scenario. There's that direct tropical feed from the Gulf of Mexico. You got all the way up through here. This is the blocking over across just north here over Greenland and extending down towards eastern Canada. This is going to prevent, you can see, any system, this kind of like a cutoff trough here, any system from being able to move in the general direction of the northeast. It will simply stall here over the mid-Atlantic and the Appalachians, and this moisture feed from the Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean, and the western Gulf of Mexico will continue to feed into this, and that means heavy flash flooding style rains across the eastern portion of the United States, particularly the mid-Atlantic, northeast, and New England. The really big wave starts to hit on Monday night or Sunday night through Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be possibly even more heavy rain event than Friday's heavy rain event here. So let's get right into the rainfall totals. Look at this. Somewhere in the reds here, 3 to 5 inches of solid rain in the red with locally higher amounts. You see the fuchsia colors here in portions of the Appalachians, Catskills, up through some of the White Mountains. That's where we could see upwards of 6 to 7 inches of rain. And of course, back in western Pennsylvania here, you've already seen 6 to 7 inches of rain with more on the way. So that's very bad news. And here across the east, look at this, a very solid swath of 1.5 inches or greater. This is not looking good, and this goes through Monday. There's more rain coming after Monday, so this is not very good news at all. Let's get right into some of my local river levels here before I touch on my local forecast here. And this is the creek that's in the southern tier of New York that's near MeteoMark Studios here. You can see it's been pretty much below 1 to 2 feet for the most part, but it's forecast to go upwards of 7, 8, possibly 9 feet. So we're going to be looking for that. In the Susquehanna River here at Vestal, New York, it's hovering between 5 and 7 feet, but in the coming days, NWS puts it up towards 13 to 15 feet by Saturday and Sunday. I'm thinking more in the ballpark, closer to 20 to as much as 25 feet by the end of the weekend. So we're going to continue to watch this situation here in the southern tier of New York, and let me show you quickly the actual areas that I'm very concerned about here in the dark green and blue shading here across the northeast and New England for the highest amount of precipitation totals during the next 7 days. This covers 7 days, and a lot of systems will get hung up over the area. Don't forget to like me on Facebook at MeteoMark, subscribe to me on YouTube at MeteoMark.com. Here's a 4-day forecast for my hometown viewers from Binghamton to Elmira and the northern tier counties of Pennsylvania. This is very busy and a very critical time period. I want you to stay tuned and like me on my Facebook page if you want to receive micro updates and you're in the area. Looking on into the day on your Friday, this is where we have heavy rain in the morning, another inch or two possible. It's in the weekend here, Saturday night, Sunday. That's where we start to get into some heavier rains here, and possibly an additional couple inches Sunday night through Tuesday here. This is not looking very good for heavy rain. The only saving grace is that we've been relatively dry throughout the Susquehanna region of New York and Pennsylvania. However, things can change very drastically and greatly, as we've seen in 2006 and 2011. At this time, I'm looking for a light to moderate flood event across the area. Main threats right now will be on the stem creeks and streams. That's going to do it for MeteoMark.